Okay, so it's August 27th, 2016, and we're here with Frank Fannin, who served on the Battleship Iowa in World War II. And this is a follow-up interview. This is part two, the airplane edition. So I got a question here. Did the Iowa have any aircraft of its own?
It had three small pontoon boats, small pontoon aircraft that sit on the fantail, and they used them for observation ships and also to pick up down pilots and so forth, so on in that category. And
And,
it was
so how did these planes get recovered once they did their mission?
well that was really a job. They would have to taxi up in the wake of the ship and keep their speed close enough to where they didn't damage their prop, and they would drop a hook down to them, and the pilot would hook the hook onto the aircraft, and then they would pick it up. But he had to also, at the same time he was doing that, he's got to keep the correct speed in it, and that's really a hard job.
Hmm. Did you ever see any aircraft launched from our aircraft carriers?
Oh yes, from a distance we've seen a lot of aircraft, and they were
Any crashes?
They were loaded with bombs so bad that a lot of them didn't make it up into the air. They would fall into the water in front of the ship, and the ship would just run over them. And because the ship couldn't stop, it sounds cruel, but that's the way it happened.
Yeah. Did you see any of our aircraft ever ditch near your plane, near your boat?
Yes. One morning our ship got a call from B-29. They used to go over to bomb Tokyo, and they had been hit with flak, and they couldn't make it back to the base. And our ship was assigned to pick them up, and we had a calm sea that morning, and the guy brought that aircraft in and landed it really slick in the water, and our ship sent a small boat over and picked up the crew, and then they sunk the aircraft.
So they all survived?
They all survived. They all survived, but the aircraft couldn't make it back to the base.
Hmm. And that was a B-29?
That was a B-29.
Did you ever see any Japanese like bail out, parachute out?
No, I never seen any of them bail out. Those guys, I think, only had enough fuel to come out to the place, and they never wore parachutes or anything. It was just they'd already give their life away when they came out to commit suicide and be at suicide planes, you know.
Hmm.
So they'd already gave their life away.
What's the largest number of airplanes during the war that you saw at one time at one place? Or
Well, the day the peace treaty was signed, there was wave after wave of U.S. aircraft come in over Tokyo Bay. I never knew there was so many planes in the United States. It was a tremendous amount of planes.
so you were anchored near the Missouri, and then it all flew right
Well,
over you?
we were anchored right next door to the Missouri, you know, close as you can anchor ships, and I could see what was going on. I wasn't right on top of all of that, but I could see the Japanese little boat bringing the Japanese people on board and so forth.
Hmm. Now, in the other interview, you said that you had two brothers that were in the Air Corps. What did they do in the Air Corps?
The one brother was a tail gunner on a B-17, and he was shot down over Berlin on his 26th flight and became a prisoner for 22 months in Germany. And the other one was a repairman, a welder or something in that category. I think when the planes got damaged out on bombing runs and so forth, that he was a repairman for them.
So your brother that was in the B-17, I mean, was he your size? I mean,
My size, he was, yes, about my size, and
did he
he
trouble
couldn't
bailing
get,
out?
when he had to bail out, he was in that gun turret back there, and he said he had to take his parachute off and get out of the gun turret, and then put his parachute back on before he could parachute out of the plane.
Hmm. So after your assignment on the Iowa, you served on the Yorktown aircraft carrier and then on a seaplane tender that brought a seaplane to Puget Sound after the war. What kind of seaplane were you bringing back?
Well, a two-engine seaplane. It was a Japanese seaplane. I don't know what the model was, but
So So
They
captures.
brought it back that they wanted one intact so that they could tell what they were using and what they were made out of and so forth and so on. We brought it back to Puget Sound and dropped it off there, and from where it went there, I don't have any idea.
So it would be like on the deck of your ship, and then you
We had
transfer
it,
it? Or?
we had it fastened down to the deck of our ship. We brought it down through the Aleutian Islands on the way home. We got into Pier 91 in December, something like the 23rd of December of 91. I mean 90. I said 91. 45. Pier 91 and 45.
Yeah.
It wasn't that 91 was a mistake,
Yeah.
but Pier 91, you know.
After the war, you moved to Dayton, Ohio.
Yes.
And there's like two of the most famous and historical people from Dayton are Mr. Patterson, who founded National Cash Register, and the Wright brothers. Did you ever see those?
I've seen them. Yes, I have. And yeah.
And like Orville Wright, I think, lived there a lot
Orville
longer.
Wright had a home there, and NCR they purchased that home after Orville's death, and it became one of their guest houses. They brought guests from all over the world, of course, in business, and they wined and dined them there and kept them there, and it's called Hawthorne Hill. It's a very nice museum now. NCR, I understand, donated it to the Dayton Historical Society, and it's a museum there.
So you worked for NCR, and NCR owned his house, and so you
Yeah.
did work on the house?
I worked there and did the maintenance on it. Yes, they owned the house, and I did maintenance on the house, of electrical and air conditioning and refrigeration.
All right, well, thank you for these questions. I think we're going to have many more, but this wraps up our airplane edition. Thank you.
Okay.